Hello YouTube, I am back with The Death Cure by James Dashner. It's the third book in the Maze Runner series. I was going to try to find a word for it, but I don't think there is. There's not a term for 4 books like there is for 3, which is trilogy. But that's a digression. Doesn't matter. Anyway, let's see if I remember how to do these videos, even though my other videos aren't that great. But let's see if I cannot totally suck. So let's try that. But yes, today's book is The Death Cure by James Dashner. Oh, I must first say that I had started reading this book like 2 months ago before all of my finals were and all of my traveling and that kind of stuff. So I don't really remember that well what happened beforehand, so I'll be trusting my notes to remind me about what happened. And then, I don't know, when I came back home to finish the rest of the book, I don't know if it was just because I had a huge gap in between, but I didn't really like this book as much. I think this is a series where the first book is great, and then the author kind of falls short with the rest of the series. It kind of happened with Divergent. The first one was great, and I remember I read that in a day during the summer last year. But then when I read the other 2, I think, I was just like, nah, it's not doing it for me. Except for the last book, that twist kind of at the end, which I did not see. My friend back in Scotland, she saw it coming, but I was totally oblivious to what was going to happen. And if you read Allegiant, you know what I'm talking about. I did not see that coming. So I'm hoping that the final book in this series will have some kind of twist that'll make me like the entire series better, but as of now, I don't think it's as great as it could have been, or as the first book makes it seem. But that's that. Let me look to see if there's anything I can say that is not spoilers. Okay, so this was what I wrote before my final, so I don't really remember exactly how I feel about it now, but I had said that there was so many expected things that happened. I don't remember exactly what, but while I was reading, so many things were just happening that I was not expecting. And then also, each chapter ends with, a cliffhanger, which it's not really a cliffhanger because there's more right there. You don't have to wait for another book to find out what happened. But it's as if I've said that it's kind of like if this was a TV show, each end of a chapter would be where a commercial break would be put, and I mean that would be interesting for TV, but for the book it's just oh my god, can we please stop having these big moments where something big is gonna happen, because it's gonna you just have to look at the other page and then find out what happens. And I don't know, he kind of overdid the cliffhangers in these books, and it wasn't just this one, it was all of them. They both, or all 3 of them so far, they've really had that kind of oh, what's gonna happen in the next chapter? Oh wait, it's right there because you can read it. You don't have to wait for another book. So that was kind of a bit overdone, I think. The only thing that could make this series really great, but not even that, I don't think it can reach extreme Percy Jackson, Harry Potter greatness at all. It's not gonna reach that status in my mind. I don't know about you, but the only way it could be semi good is if there's some huge reveal in the last book. And this is just my opinion, and it might be a little bit spoilery, so if you just want to be safe, don't listen to this part. But the only way it could be great, semi-great, is if we find out that every last detail was orchestrated by Wicked, and that Thomas is completely manipulated by everybody. literally everybody. But I'll get into more detail about that when I go into the spoilers, because there's some little nitpicky, or not nitpicky, but little details that I'm going to go into more detail about for that, why I think that would be great and who would need to do that kind of stuff in order for it to be great. But yeah, I'm pretty sure though that is really the end of my non-spoilery information. The only thing is, again, these books, I don't know, it might just be because I had a huge space where I didn't read the book, so I wasn't completely thinking about it for that time either. But I don't know, I'm not liking the rest of the series as much as I did The Maze Runner. And even The Maze Runner, it kind of, I don't know, it wasn't, as good as I expected it to be. But with further ado, I shall now go into the spoilers. So if you have not read the book, do not watch from here on, because I will spoil some stuff for you. So let's see then. Just by reading these notes, I kind of remember what happened. There was just a lot of stuff with Thomas debating whether or not to go back to Wicked, because Jansen had appeared to him while he was in Denver and said, oh, you have to help. You can help Newt. We already know that Newt is far gone. And that kind of is effective in getting Thomas to be unsure of what he wants to do. And eventually it does sway him to do what Wicked does. But he does it as well because he had joined up with the right arm and was like, ooh, we can now attack them or something. If you go in with this device that'll shut down all their weapons, we can just then come in and stop Wicked from what they're doing. Because Wicked had taken more immunities from Denver and other places in the world and was planning on doing second trials. But that, I think, this is where I think it's kind of orchestrated, so everything that Thomas is coming into contact with is manipulated for him to do a certain action still, because it kind of what pushed him over the edge to go back to Wicked, which was what Jansen wanted to do. And I don't know. It seemed like the right arm, which he was going to help again with shutting down the weapons so they can come in and just completely obliterate Wicked. But it seemed like the right arm didn't have all, like, it wasn't the right time. It was too soon for the right arm to go in, but they still did it. So that's where I think, like, oh, maybe they're not exactly what they say they are. Maybe they're still part of Wicked and are trying to manipulate him to go back. And I mean, we met, Gally's back again. He did not actually die. But it seems like, I don't know, how could Gally not be dead and stuff? If he, like, I feel like he knows a lot more than he's letting on, because when we've encountered him in this book, we haven't really heard a lot. And I'm jumping around a bit, but at the end it says in the epilogue that there were two wisely placed immunes that helped set things along and make them go, I guess, where it was supposed to go, like what it enabled things to happen that was supposed to happen. It was like a catalyst or something. And I wonder, I'm pretty sure my guess for that would be Gally and then Brenda, but I don't know. We find out kind of who created the experiment, and that Thomas furthered it once they were purged, because I guess the original creators had contracted the flare and needed to die. They, like, Thomas did for them what he couldn't do for his best friend Newt. He killed them once they even got the disease. So we found out some more background information. I still don't think we found out enough or as much as I wanted, because it might just be because I forgot again exactly what happened. But I feel like there's still a lot of information that we're not getting. So hopefully in the last book, we'll get it. in this, I'm pretty sure it was the Ratman Jansen who said this, and he was like, the lives of a few aren't worth losing to save countless more. And that's kind of true. That's kind of a question, like, what do you do when you're in that position? Do you save your individual self? Like, do you make sure you live, or do you try to do for the greater good? I'm pretty sure I had that again. It shows a conflict between the greater good and the individual for survival and free will. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a theme that I've seen in a lot of young adult books. With, especially like, for me, the first book that came into mind was Harry Potter, with like Dumbledore and, oh goodness, what was his name? Holy crap, this is bad. I failed the Harry Potter fandom! Grindelwald, I think. How they, when they were younger, they were fighting for the greater good, and that kind of became Voldemort's twisted. Like, Voldemort had fought for that kind of, but twisted it out of proportion. Because they were all Muggle haters. That's kind of what Grindelwald wanted as well. They wanted to put Muggles in their rightful place. Of course, we saw that Dumbledore kind of outgrew that, but he still tried to fight for the greater good. Because of course, we see that he allows Harry to be, as Snape says, a raised pig for slaughter. That's not exactly how the quote goes, but that's basically what it was. You see a lot of books that have this conflict between greater good and individual survival / free will. And honestly, how do you choose? Because I mean, everybody's instinct is to survive themselves. You don't care really about if other people survive, really, unless you do. But then again, you should care if other people live. You should, because you want your whole race to live. But then again, are you going to be willing to die in order for other people to live? That's like a huge question. And honestly, I don't know what I would do in that position. Throughout this book, we hear very randomly, Chancellor Paige's name is placed throughout the book. And we never find out exactly who she is and what her plans are and stuff. We find in the end of the book, in the epilogue, that she is the head of Wicked, and that she did have the same vision as Wicked, and that she helped it go along. But as we saw, she did change her mind because she thought Wicked was going too far, because they were planning on cutting Thomas's brain open to look at his brain, because he was the, I don't know how they put it, the final trial or something like that. That's not right, but he was special. He was the chosen one of it. And she did not like that they were going to go that far. She didn't like how far they had gone previously with all the deaths and that kind of stuff. But she ended up helping all the Indians escape from Wicked. She seems good. But then again, I've never heard anything else really about her. And then again, the end, she says that there were the two immunes that kind of helped everything go the way it was supposed to go. So it's still being manipulated, but it seems like it should be a good manipulation, but is any manipulation good? I don't think so. Whenever people are being bent to the wills of others, even if they don't know, not that good. So I just hope in the last book we find out about her, but I just glanced at the epilogue that's in this book, and I think it said like a couple years later. I didn't see the actual number of years, but it seems like everything goes good. Everything goes well, English. In this book, it seemed like Thomas was more willing to kill. What I do remember in the last couple chapters in the book, he was confronted with Janice and another dude when trying to find the other immunities after Chancellor Paige left him like a map and that kind of stuff. And he's like, he just he does give warnings, says, oh, if you don't let me go, I will kill you. But he doesn't even give them a chance. He's just like, oh, nope, throw a knife, cut you, get you right in your jugular. And he's dead. And then when he was killing Jansen after he had the immunities and they were trying to escape, he just continues strangling him after Jansen's completely dead. Like, he's already gone. You can't kill him anymore. You're just doing this now for fun, I guess. But that... And then he wouldn't kill Mute, which would have been a mercy killing. He just... I don't understand him. And that happened to me a lot in the book. Like, I don't understand what was happening. It's not that I didn't literally understand what was happening, but it just didn't seem to flow. And again, that's why I don't really like the book as much. It just seemed either I wasn't paying attention as much, which is bad in itself because it's saying that I did not like the book, so it's not holding my attention, or it might be on the part of the author and he just seems like he's forgot. Not that I'm saying that I could do any better. I do not have the imagination or the confidence or the writing skills to write a book. I have tried writing even fan fiction and it did not go well. I'm a perfectionist, so I wouldn't want to do that anyway. And it never comes out on paper how it does in my mind. So I'm not saying that you suck, because you do way better than me. It's just, it was not, I did not like it that much. It didn't satisfy my reading needs. I don't know, like, it seemed like it skipped around a lot. Like, I'd find parts where, like, we're following Thomas, and then somehow either Brenda or Teresa is there, and I'm like, how did they get there? I thought they were, like, all the way back there, but then they're in front of Thomas somehow. Did I miss something? Am I not paying attention? So I don't know. And then a lot of the things that Thomas does is just so stupid. For one, I don't remember exactly what happened. This was before my finals and stuff. But he stuck around after watching like an infected person get caught by a guard. And that causes a lot of trouble for him. When they're trying to escape the Wicked headquarters, the right arm had set off explosions and stuff, so everything was falling down, so they really had a rush to leave. But Thomas, when he sees the ceiling falling down, he just looks, because it looks like it's definitely going to hit him if he stays where he was. Does he move? No, he just stares up at it, waiting for it to hit him. And Teresa has to sacrifice herself to push him out of the way, and she gets crushed and dies. And it was all because Thomas was a stupid little butt who did not react. He just stood there watching. And yeah, you can make the case that, oh, he had a lot of stuff happening, so he was kind of not paying attention. But no! If you see something falling down on you, you're gonna run away. You're not gonna wait for it to crush you and kill you. Just stupid things like that. He was just not using his head at times. At all. And then back to the right arm. This is another case where both sides, or both groups, are kind of bad in their own right. We've seen it in the Hunger Games where Capitol is obviously bad. They've been the bad guys since the beginning. But then District 13, you want to be on their side, but they take it to the other extreme with President Snow, and that's why Katniss kills President Snow. It's the same thing here. Wicked is obviously bad. They've been bad since the beginning. But then the right arm are kidnapping immunities to give to Wicked to try to save people? How does that work? You're giving the Wicked what they want. That's not helping anything. And I mean, it made it worse. And the right arm, they didn't even care when they were setting off explosions if the immunities got out. They were ready to leave them there and die and kill them. They didn't care. They just wanted Wicked gone. There wasn't a clear good side. There was like a third in between group that I guess Thomas and the other immunities were in, and apparently Chancellor Paige was kind of on their side as well, but I don't know who Chancellor Paige is exactly. I'm hoping we get more information in the last book, but I don't know. Okay, let's see for characters. Let's see if I can say anything intelligent about their development and that kind of stuff. As I said it about Thomas, he just seems like he's getting more and more idiotic as it goes on. He's just completely losing in his brain. And yeah, it's a little bit understandable because he has dealt with so much, so his brain is getting mentally exhausted. He can't continue doing what he's been doing, because I mean, it is a strain and stressful on him what he's been through. But still, he's made some dumb decisions. Some very dumb decisions, and can't really not blame him for it. So, Brenda, I can't really say anything for the beginning part of the book again, but towards the end, she just seemed not weak, but what a lot of female characters tend to end up. They tend to end up like very reliant on the guy. I mean, it's not that bad, but she seems like she's relying on Thomas a little bit too much. And she keeps on like going to kiss his cheek and stuff. And I mean, that's cute, but after a while, you don't need to be kissing his cheek every time you see him. But that's just me. I'm not in a relationship. I don't know if that is normal, but for me personally, that's a little bit too much. Jorge, it seemed like he completely disappeared towards the end of the book. I don't remember much about him. Mino, he's kind of become hardened. He's lost a lot of his sarcasm, sassiness, and that kind of stuff. Like, he does still stay sarcastic, but he loses like the smirks he would make while he was being sarcastic. So he kind of hardened a bit, which that is more normal, I think, than Thomas becoming idiotic. So Teresa still did not like her character at all. She seemed like a know-it-all, and she seemed superior to everyone else. And I just hated her so much. I mean, I was kind of glad she died, but the way she died could have been prevented if, again, Thomas wasn't a complete idiot. But, I mean, I'm not completely sad for her to be gone, so. Newt, of course, I thought it was Newt. He's just my favorite character, and I'm so angry he ended up dying. But it was necessary. It was. Might be sad about it, but he needed to go. You can see how much he was getting progressively worse with the flare, so it needed to happen before he completely lost who he was. And I think that was the only character where I wasn't completely annoyed, where like it was logical how he progressed. I mean, that I think is my favorite part of the book, how Newt progresses from the first book to being everyone's like shoulder to lean on when they need help, or keeping everybody together, to being the same thing in the flare, changing it so it not in the flare, in the second trials, in the Scorch trials, and then in this book how he completely starts getting short-tempered and starts to lose his mind. So I thought that was just great. Best thing in all the books, I think. We find out he attempted to kill himself while in the maze because he didn't like what was happening. But then that adds to his character, how great of a character I think he is, because even though he did not like it and he tried to kill himself, after that experience, he hides his feelings and then tries to keep everybody else from feeling that way, I guess, and then from preventing like any fights to happen, help everything go smoothly while they're in this horrible situation. So I thought that was nice. I wish we could learn more though about Newt, but probably not, because it seems like everything I wanted to learn or to know about the books completely haven't learned. So I'm hoping like the whole last book is just like defining every little thing that had happened in the other books, but I doubt that's gonna happen. So, and I'm pretty sure Jansen had contracted the flare by the end, because he just seemed extremely crazy. Like, I understand people sometimes get like that when they want to do their job, and if they're not getting what they want, they sometimes turn that way. But he was just like overkill crazy. So I think he somehow contracted the flare, and he just got insane. He just got insane. And then he died from Thomas, who killed him, was trying to kill him after he was dead. So I think the biggest kind of plot twist in this was, I think I said before, the fact that Wicked needed Thomas's brain. Like, what? Jansen had asked Thomas to come back, and he did. And I thought he was going to be like, oh, we need you just to do some tests. Like, we might just need to monitor your brain while it's still in your head. But no, they needed to cut his head open and actually physically look at his brain without, like, anything else. And I was like, dude, that's just going way too far. How? Like, I don't understand brains that much, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you don't need to cut one open to find out that kind of stuff. And I mean, Chancellor Paige was like that too. That was way too far. But I don't know. I'm not a neuroscientist or any neurologist, anything that has to do with the brain. I don't know. So, I mean, maybe you do need to cut it open to understand it completely. But I always thought that just, like, looking through it through, like, an MRI or doing, like, tests and that kind of stuff would be enough. I mean, is there really much more you can learn from actually looking at it and, like, poking at it? I don't know. Now, when Thomas had left, or was going to look for the Muni's after he read the note from Chancellor Paige, this is again part of why I think he was being manipulated more so than he thought. Because it seemed like, at least while I was reading it, that this was going to be like part of another trial. And I mean, it kind of was, because it was an easy way going to reach the Muni's who were back in the maze. But then on the way coming out, they had the grievers started coming to life. Thankfully, he prevented most of them from, like, hurting people. He killed them before they even, like, were fully alive, I guess. But, and then also, like, the earthquakes. We don't know for sure if that was the right arm's explosions. That could have just been, like, another test that was performed by Chancellor Paige and Wicked. We don't know. I kind of think he was being manipulated. And if it's not the case in the last book, I'm just going to be like, nope. Don't like this series at all. I think that's pretty much it. That's all I remember and all that's really important. I have no idea what's going to happen in the last book. I mean, I did just look at the, like, little excerpts that are placed in the end of this third book, and it said like it was blank years later, so it's apparently, I guess they lived fine for a while, but I honestly don't know what's gonna happen in this last book. We'll just have to wait and see, and I'll have that review out as soon as I finish the book. Hopefully I read it quickly because I want to be done with the series. Not really enjoying it. I had to force myself really to read this book, and that's again not good when you're reading. Didn't really like it. Like I've said like 20 times in this. It might just be because I did have such a long period in between reading like the first half and the second half. But I don't know. I think even with the second book, I was just like, oh my god, this isn't as good as The Maze Runner, so we'll see. Maybe the last book will make me love it. Might be the case. It might have something so, like, plot twisty that I'm just like, oh my god, that was just great, but I highly doubt it. But we'll see. So, hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, please leave, or any thoughts or anything, please comment below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Yeah, so see you next time.